videos on the TCB880 and how to communicate with a computer or with our printers. So all this is going to happen, you see it's on right now. I turn to the side. You'll see there's the RS-232 connection, and that's a male connection. So what you need to do is get a USB to RS-232 cable. This is an example of one. But you'll notice very quickly a lot of them come with male connectors, and this is also male connector, so that wouldn't actually work. So two things. Number one, you're gonna need a gender changer, which changes, so you connect, this one to this one, and then this one to this one. The thing is, on the ISO TCB880, the wiring is actually switched. So pin 2 and pin 3 are swapped. So pin 2 is typically might be like transmit, and then pin 3 is receive. On TCB880, it's actually the opposite. In this case, I have a no modem that's female to female, you see. So this is already, this adapter here switches pin 2 and pin 3 already and changes the gender, which is exactly what I need to do. If not, they're going to need maybe gender changer and then some other no modem to switch pin 2 and pin 3, because it will not see output. And it's very important to try out first on a computer for testing it out on a printer, because maybe it's not working on your printer. You think, why is it going on? With a PC, you'll see very quickly if it's working or not. So let me put it this way. Let me actually add it to this first, so I can add it here. You can buy it on Amazon as well, not too difficult to find, not too expensive. You're gonna need the same adapter for the printer as well, so I'm gonna keep this attached here. I'm gonna attach this here, and the other end to your computer. So I'm here on my desktop, and I would plug in the USB cable. So what you could do is on the Windows button, you could right click and then click on Device Manager, or you could just type in Search Device Manager, look up ports, and you should see a port here. If you see any of these ports with a yellow exclamation point, that means it's looking for a driver, and it could be a cabling issue into maybe Windows Update or whatever, but it should auto assign. That's more a Windows issue, not a problem with the TCB880. And I know it's my COM port 7 because it's my newest one, but to prove it, I unplug my cable. You see I have still COM 1 and COM 3 there, but if I replug it in, I have COM 7 now up here. So my cable's plugged in all the way, so that's good. And what we could do is actually open up, I use PuTTY or any hyperterminal software you want to use, and click on serial COM and 7, and the baud rate 9600, and I'll show you how to change that right now. And let's open it. Right, no output currently, so let's turn off. To actually change the setting of the baud rate and if it's going to be continuous or when the weight's stable, while it's turning on, you're going to hold down the button 2, and this is described in the manual. You press and hold 2 while power on scale. So we're actually going to show that. So while turning on, hold down 2, hit the switch, cycling on. You see baud 9600. You can switch it by pressing, C or tar. So once it's selected the baud rate, I'm using 9600. I press 0, and then mine is currently set to ST, but ST means output when the reading is stable. So when the weight's stable, it outputs the string, which in this case to my computer, next section to a printer, but only this print something or display something when weight is stable and above 0. Tear goes to the next option, which is PR. That's when you press the print key to output. I'm not gonna this work, so I'm not 100% sure about this one. This is the print key, and then you'll see CO for continuous. So let's just first try it on ST, and you'll see where I'm going with this. So my PuTTY still open. I press 0 to confirm. Now I'm back into normal weight mode, and you see on the screen I'm going to place a device. This is a phone, and there it is. You see G.W and then 0.15 kgs, unit weight 0, total with the amount of pieces. So this string is fixed, or whatever it's outputting. You can't change it. TCB880 doesn't allow you to change the output, so you don't have to work with that. If you write the software, then you're gonna have to somehow parse the string. Let's say I only want the gross weight and the number of pieces, and your software is going to keep record of that. That's up to you, but you know what the string output is going to look like. And right now it only display the weight when I had a weight on there, only once. If I remove the weight, back to 0, there's still no output. But if I add a weight again, it stabilizes, it prints again, whatever the weight is. And you'll know very quickly that even if I add more weight to it, nothing. I have to fully go back to 0 pounds or kgs or whatever, go fully back to 0, and then I could place my weights, and now it displays 0.2925 kgs. Even if I remove weight, same thing, not going to display until you go all the way back to 0. And that's currently set to my ST mode. So I'll show you the other mode. Next will be continuous, so same process. I could leave the hyperterminal open, doesn't affect it. Hold down number 2. Right, same baud rate, that depends on whatever you're using in your software. My still 9600 and ST. So if you're back in the manual, you'll see CO, that's for continuous. So CO, and I'm going to show the hyperterminal. You'll see how quickly it's going to go by. It's going to go very fast, just realize it. But it's continuously outputting. 0. So you see it's continuously outputting. If I add weight, it's outputting. If I remove weight, it's still outputting. Non-stop. The only way to really slow it down or stop it, either in your software you can, or if I disconnect it from this end, not from the USB because it will cancel the hyperterminal COM port. You'll see at least I paused it, and you'll see continuous output 0.15 kgs. You can see it's continuously outputting. I can keep scrolling. Right, if I reconnected it back, and you don't have to worry about the software because the port is still open. Right, if I moved it back to 0, might be hard to see, but if I disconnected it, you'll see 0 grams. So that is a continuous option, and the last one is for print key, which I haven't gotten to work, but if you can, that's great. So I'm just gonna, for now, go back to my ST mode. Okay, in the next section I'll show you how to connect to a printer. So this section is for connecting to our printer. So if you skip the past section, just know that I'm using a null modem adapter. So this just changes the gender from the male to male, because our printers come with this male connector, and this also has a male connector. So you're gonna need a female to female adapter, and also you're gonna need a null modem, because the TCB880 switches the traditional pin 2 and pin 3, which is transmit and receive. So you gotta switch those 2 pins, which a null modem does that for you. So this one acts as both a null modem, switching pin 2 and 3, and changes the gender. So just so you realize that, once you have that, and connect to a PC first if you have any issues to see, do you see any output at all? Is it a printer issue, or is it the TCB880 that's not outputting properly? So I have my 412T, okay, my 412T printer. So I'm gonna connect it to my adapter, make sure it goes all the way in. Okay, so if you skip the last section, I set it to, instead of continuous, because I don't want to continuously print, only print when it has stable weight. So go back to the previous section, you'll see what I mean. But currently, right, 0. So add my weight, and you'll see a ticket appeared. So I mean, it's nice, but still can't see any numbers. So if you see that the P and S are both lit up, so what you can do is press select. That will de-light. You won't see the light in the S anymore. Line feed. So you could extend it back, and make sure, this is important, press select again. Without this, it won't print to this printer. It has to be in S mode. The S light has to be lit up and power has to be lit up. So now I could cut this off, and you'll see the output string. And if you saw on the computer, it's actually the same. the G.W, U.W, and total, and the amount of pieces. So it's just going to print out whatever was on the computer to a ticket. This is a thermal ticket printer. So all you have to do is just make sure to plug in power and make sure you have the no modem. And that's it, connected to our 412. So the biggest issue is you will have most likely is not using no modem connected to computer. Just verify. So I still have my TCB880 here and my cable. So the bad news is it doesn't work on the L1 printer. If you remember my video from indicators to printers, and you'll see that it specifically wants C18 equal to 6, and you'll see the exact string that it wants to receive to actually print out a ticket. And I say, okay, that's nice, but why does it matter? Well, C18 equals 6, and if you watch my other video on connecting our indicators to our PC, C18.6 has this type of string output, and what the 412L1, or at least in this case TCB880, cannot provide that string. And remember, we can't change the string output. So whatever was a C18 equals 2 are the only ones that could work on this counting scale. So that's only on the 412 and the 412-L2. So it will not work on the L1. It will not print anything, and you cannot modify the software. You can't change the hardware itself. It won't print. So TCB880 will not print to an L1. So that's more of an issue with the string that it requires for it to work to print those kind of labels. So I'm going to show you on L2 how to do I'm here with my L2 printer and connecting it to TCB880, and what's different about the 412T-L2 is that it actually does not need a no modem. You can use the cable directly. All you have to do is make sure that to get a gender changer, because on that end you'll see a male to male, so you get a female to female adapter so you can plug it in. Besides that, you don't actually have to switch pin 2 and pin 3 like you did with the 412. So just make sure it's connected, and that's all you have to do. And right now my TCB880 is set to print when the weight is stable, so I'm using my device. And let's wait for it. So that's just what the weight on it. See the gross weight, unit weight, pieces, and total. So I actually made this label myself, and I put the logo up here, and then I attach all these texts here, and then it just fills in the categories. So this will be the equivalent of our 900 using C18 equals 2. Same settings, but more importantly you have to know is that you do have to customize the label, because you need 4 slots, and you can modify this. Let's say I don't want to see pieces, you can't take it out. So there's no way to hide certain information. You need to print out the whole information. But for the L2, you can make custom label where it has all the information. You can put your text, your company name, information, whatever it is. And that's just one possibility, but you know how to customize yourself. And if you're using the count or piece features, you can see I could appear the weight, how much per piece, and then how many pieces total. So this will change the gross weight, unit weight, pieces, and the total. But there's no date and there's no time setting, because the TCB880 does not output that. There's nothing we can do about it. We can't modify the string that comes out of it. So all the printer is doing is just printing whatever information the TCB880 is giving out. So not able to modify it. Then so all you really could do is make the custom label with that information. But if you want to make some software and then keep record of it, let's say you want to save it to an Excel sheet, you got to write some custom software. You're going to have to save or connect this indicator to a computer. Your software has to somehow save it to a database, to an Excel sheet, whatever it is, and then if you want it to print to a printer, that's up to you to figure out. I currently have it set to print only when weight stable, but you can change the continuous or the print button to print, and that's kind of up to you to decide if you want to write your own software. You could talk to us about it and seeing how much it will be if you want us to write it. And that's kind of it. The most difficult part for the L2 is just making sure that not to use no modem. Just change the gender of the plug and plug it right away. It's different than connecting to a computer or connecting it to a 412 normal thermal printer in the beginning. This is the L2. That's kind of it, and that's how you connect TCB880 to our devices.